Imagine a world where the measure of a person was not how high they climbed, but how many hands they held up along the way. Imagine a life remembered not for the monuments built, but for the lives lifted. True greatness does not reside in titles or treasures. It lives quietly, profoundly, in the service of others. Ladies and gentlemen, we often confuse greatness with the loud applause of the crowd or the glitter of achievements. But the truth, as time has taught us, is far simpler and far nobler. True greatness is not about standing above others. It is about standing with them. It is found not in taking, but in giving, not in commanding, but in serving. When we serve others, we step beyond the confines of our own desires. Service teaches humility. We learn that the world does not revolve around us, yet our actions, when aimed at the good of others, can reverberate endlessly. Each small act, a word of encouragement, a hand extended, a burden shared, becomes a seed. And seeds once planted grow in ways we cannot always see, sometimes in the hearts of those we will never meet. History shows us the power of this truth. Think of those whose names we honor not because they claimed power, but because they empowered others. Leaders, educators, reformers, and quiet heroes. These individuals did not chase recognition, they chased service, and in doing so, achieved a greatness far more enduring than any crown or title. Serving others is also a path to personal growth. It tests our patience, refines our empathy, and teaches us resilience. In understanding others' struggles, we discover the depths of our own character. We find strength we did not know we possessed, and wisdom we could never gain alone. And so, let us remember the legacy worth leaving is not in wealth accumulated, but in lives enriched. The mark of a truly great person is measured by the good they do in the world, often quietly, often unseen, but always profoundly felt. In the end, greatness is not a destination, but a direction, a turning of our lives outward, toward the betterment of others. Serve, uplift, and give freely, and you will find that true greatness is not something to be claimed. It is something that grows quietly in the hearts of those you touch. Let us live in such a way that the world remembers not the loudness of our fame, but the warmth of our service. For in lifting others we rise. True greatness is not measured by how many people applaud us or by the titles we hold. It is measured by the lasting impact we leave on the lives of others. Power, wealth, and fame can all vanish in a moment, but the influence of a kind action, a selfless gesture, or a life dedicated to uplifting others remains long after we are gone. Society often teaches us to chase recognition, to seek admiration, and to compete for status, but these are fleeting illusions. The heart remembers the people who stood with us, not those who stood above us. Every time we choose to help someone without expecting anything in return, we create a ripple effect that reaches far beyond our imagination. Human beings are social creatures. We are wired to respond to care, kindness, and generosity. When we serve others, we tap into a deep part of our shared humanity. A leader who is remembered for listening, understanding, and lifting others will inspire loyalty and respect far more than one who only commands or instructs. True greatness is about contribution rather than consumption. It is about the willingness to share our time, our knowledge, and our resources to make someone else's journey a little easier. People are naturally drawn to those who show empathy, who put others' needs before their own, because it demonstrates strength of character. In every interaction, we have the opportunity to create meaning in someone else's life. A simple act of guidance, support, or encouragement can transform a moment of struggle into a turning point, a feeling of despair into hope. Those who pursue only recognition often find themselves surrounded by superficial praise, yet they remain empty inside, while those who focus on serving others build a foundation of genuine respect, trust, and love. The legacy of greatness is built quietly, in the small choices we make every day. Every person we help, every burden we lighten, every life we touch is a brick in the structure of true greatness. It is not measured by the wealth we accumulate, the awards we display, or the positions we hold, but by the joy, comfort, and growth we inspire in those around us, and by the chain of goodness that continues long after our names fade from memory. Service is the clearest reflection of a person's character because it reveals what we value more than ourselves. When we choose to help others, we show humility, a quality that is often rare in a world that celebrates self-promotion. True humility is not weakness, it is strength guided by empathy, understanding, and the willingness to place someone else's needs alongside our own. The way we treat those who cannot benefit us in return speaks volumes about who we truly are. A person who lifts others without expectation demonstrates integrity, honesty, and a heart attuned to the struggles and joys of humanity. Human beings are naturally social, and society thrives when individuals act with care and compassion. Every act of service, no matter how small, strengthens the bonds that hold communities together. When we serve, we learn patience because helping others often requires us to listen, wait, and adapt. We develop empathy because we step into the shoes of someone else, understanding their fears, dreams, and challenges. We cultivate resilience because service sometimes demands sacrifice, persistence, and confronting uncomfortable truths about the world and ourselves. Service is also a mirror that shows us our own growth. When we see someone flourish because of our guidance, support, or encouragement, we recognize the power within ourselves to make a difference.
Greatness is not about public recognition. It is about consistently choosing actions that align with our values and uplift others. Serving others shapes our identity, builds trust, and creates a reputation rooted in respect and admiration. People are drawn to those who give freely because it inspires hope, fosters cooperation, and reminds us of the goodness that still exists in the world. Service transforms ordinary people into leaders, mentors, and role models. It is not measured by the applause we receive, but by the lives we touch and the positive changes we ignite in others. The strength of character displayed through service becomes a legacy that guides future generations, teaching them that greatness is earned through compassion, empathy, and the courage to act for the well-being of others. Every act of service carries a ripple effect that extends far beyond what we can see or imagine. When we help someone, we are not just changing one moment in their life. We are creating a chain of influence that can touch countless others. Human beings are deeply interconnected, and the energy of kindness spreads naturally. A single gesture of support can inspire the person receiving it to act with generosity towards someone else, who then continues the cycle. Communities thrive when people serve one another, because service builds trust, solidarity, and a sense of belonging. Even small acts, like offering a listening ear, sharing knowledge, or helping with a task, can grow into significant transformations in the lives of others. The impact of service is magnified when it inspires hope, encouragement, and motivation in those who might feel alone or overwhelmed. People remember the warmth and care they receive in times of need, and they often pass that forward to others, creating waves of positive influence that can cross generations. Society functions best when individuals choose cooperation over competition and contribution over self-interest. Every effort to support, uplift, or guide another person contributes to a culture of mutual respect and understanding. When leaders, mentors, or ordinary individuals act in service, their example inspires others to do the same, creating a multiplying effect that strengthens communities, organizations, and even entire societies. Acts of service have the power to break cycles of despair, ignite new opportunities, and plant seeds of possibility that may flourish long after the initial action. People respond to genuine care because it fulfills a deep human need for connection and acknowledgement. The more we serve, the more we realize that greatness is not an individual pursuit, but a shared journey that grows when we lift others along the way. One person's effort can influence many, shaping not only individual lives, but also the character of neighborhoods, schools, workplaces, and social networks. The ripple effect of service demonstrates that our choices matter, and that every act of kindness, guidance, or support carries significance far beyond what we initially see. In serving others, we become catalysts for change, creating networks of care, trust, and inspiration that continue to grow independently of our own actions. Serving others is not only about helping those around us, it is also one of the most powerful ways to grow as a person. When we step into someone else's life to offer support, guidance, or care, we face challenges that stretch us beyond our comfort zones. These challenges teach patience, because helping someone often requires understanding their struggles, listening deeply, and responding with thoughtfulness instead of rushing to solutions. Service develops empathy because we begin to feel the world from another person's perspective, sensing their fears, hopes, and dreams. Through this process, we discover emotions and insights within ourselves that may have remained hidden if we only focused on our own lives. Service also cultivates resilience because it demands persistence even when results are not immediate or recognition is absent. We learn to continue giving, helping, and guiding without depending on applause or reward. Every act of service is an opportunity to confront our limitations and grow stronger, wiser, and more compassionate. Human beings thrive on connection, and by serving others, we strengthen those connections, building trust, respect, and meaningful relationships that enrich both our lives and the lives of others. Service challenges our pride because it asks us to put someone else's needs at the center, and in doing so, we develop humility, a trait that is essential for personal and social growth. It allows us to appreciate the struggles and strengths of others, creating a sense of shared humanity that binds communities together. Serving others also enhances our problem-solving skills, creativity, and emotional intelligence because we encounter situations that require thoughtful action, flexibility, and understanding. Each experience of service becomes a lesson, teaching us about human behavior, social dynamics, and the importance of kindness in building stronger societies. Personal growth through service is both internal and visible. We feel more fulfilled, capable, and connected, while others experience the tangible impact of our care. By embracing the responsibility to serve, we discover that greatness is not only about what we achieve for ourselves, but about how much we help others grow, heal, and succeed. It transforms ordinary experiences into opportunities for learning, reflection, and the cultivation of virtues that define the character of those who make a lasting difference. True greatness is measured not by the applause we receive in the moment, but by the legacy we leave behind through the lives we touch. When we focus on serving others rather than seeking recognition, we create a kind of influence that endures far beyond our own lifetime. Human beings are wired to remember acts of kindness, support, and guidance, and these memories shape communities, families, and social networks for generations. A life dedicated to service builds a foundation of trust, respect, and inspiration that cannot be destroyed by time, criticism, or circumstance. The people we help may go on to help others, spreading the effects of our actions in ways we cannot always see, creating a chain of goodness that continues long after we are gone. Societies flourish when individuals prioritize contribution over personal gain because service nurtures cooperation, understanding, and empathy, reinforcing the social bonds that hold communities together. True greatness seeks impact, not applause. It thrives on meaningful change rather than temporary recognition. Even small acts of care, a moment of listening, a word of encouragement, a selfless gesture, can accumulate into a powerful legacy. Human beings respond to genuine concern because it fulfills an innate desire to feel valued, supported, and understood. By serving others, we inspire hope, cultivate courage, and model virtues that others are motivated to emulate. Legacy is not about wealth, fame, or titles. It is about the positive change we ignite in the world and the influence we have on the character of those around us. Those who prioritize service over self-interest are remembered not just for what they accomplished personally, but for what they enabled others to achieve, the confidence they instilled, and the growth they facilitated. In essence, serving others is the most reliable way to ensure that our lives matter in a meaningful and lasting way. Every act of kindness, guidance, and support becomes part of a larger story that outlives us, shaping values, behaviors, and social connections for years to come. When we embrace service as the measure of greatness, we shift the focus from temporary recognition to enduring influence, ensuring that our contributions ripple outward, inspiring others to serve, lift, and transform the world.